Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and with me tonight is our special guest, Josh Froelich. Josh, welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
Hey, I'm always happy to be here talking with you, Dave.
It's great to have you. I was thinking about this recently. I was trying to think of the last time that you've been on the podcast, and it's been some time now. I think Hard as Hell is when we got together last, and we did like a little group podcast. And I don't know if I ever gave you the feedback, but dude, people really dug that style of like just a bunch of shooting friends, people that we know through the shooting community, sitting around and discussing shooting topics, and it seemed like it kind of worked really well, and people were enjoying that type of format.
Yeah, well, I had fun doing it too. So, I mean, all of us, when we travel and we go to these matches and we hang out with our buddies and, the time between when we shoot and when we go to dinner and all of that, right? Like, those are some of the best memories I have of the traveling. Like, shoot the match, of course, that's a big part of it. But hanging out with your buddies and just BSing about the match, the experience, whatever, life, like capturing a little bit of that and putting it out there for the rest of the community. I thought it was fun to do, and I've thought about putting some of that stuff out too on my show. I think it's just fun content.
Yeah, it really is, and it's kind of like it's like a little slice of life kind of thing, and you get to sit there in your cubicle or at the gym, listen to the podcast, and then be like a part of the conversation. And for me, when I started this podcast, like I was, completely completely unknown in the sport. What I thought was like a middle of the pack shooter, which turned out to be I was much lower than that. But those are conversations that I didn't get to have, and so to be on the other side of it and think about the audience member that may not have access to the type of people that we hang out with. It's cool to bring that type of content to them and be that conduit. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact is, we have a pretty interesting bunch of personalities that we hang out with, right? Good people. Like, these are people that, like, if there were 100 people around, like, they're the ones I'd gravitate to anyway. They're entertaining, they're fun to be around, and again, just capturing a little bit of that, sharing it with the community that doesn't necessarily get that interface on a regular basis like we do. It's fun. I like it.
I was thinking about this recently, Josh, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but we talk about the Three Gun community a lot, and I was thinking about this in the context of like architectured societies, where So in like the prepper and the shit hits the fan type of scenarios, people are always like, well, it'd be cool if like we just got a bunch of bros and we had like 3 houses on like bunch of acreage and stuff. And I was thinking that like the Three Gun community would be like a good small city to have, or small town, right? Because we got Easley's a chiropractor, we've got farmers, we've got a shitload of security professionals that we could deal with. We got sales guys like you, we got marketing guys like me. We have like the whole gamut of. Oh, we're getting Dave Horn to cook for us, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've got like the whole gamut of professions and specialties within Three Gun, and then and it all kind of coalesces here. But we'd have a lot of engineers, so we'd have really cool buildings.
Oh yeah, we'd have the coolest shit for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, am I supposed to swear? I always
Up
forget.
Okay.
Okay, there'll be a little then.
Yeah, if you listen to the most recent podcast,
I did.
With Mike and Land, wow, things went off the rails.
Well, if you've gone to dinner with those guys, that's just how we talk sometimes. And so, again, captured a real slice. You got those guys super comfortable. I talked to Mike about the show today, and I go, hey, I enjoyed the show. I felt like he goes, was I a little rough? I was like around the edges on it. And I was like, I go, to who? That's relative term, right? So like, to who's your target audience? First of all, Mike, right? Like, it's the shooting community. We're okay with that. That's a fact. So I thought he did a great job, and Land did a great job, and you did a good job too, all of you, of just having a comfortable conversation. And I enjoyed listening to it.
I gotta tell you, like, I could have gone for like another hour, but I was so freaking hungry because we were supposed to have lunch, and by that time it was like 3 o'clock or something. But I was having so much fun in that conversation and like being in the moment and just like letting the conversation take us where it went or where it went. And I get a lot of feedback on podcasts, and I have gotten so much feedback in the last 2 days. Like it launched Wednesday, right? So, which was yesterday. So yesterday and today, I've gotten so many messages from like text messages like, dude, that's the best podcast you've done in months, and like you got to get put a quarter in mic and just give them a microphone, and so many Instagram comments, like I said, text messages, Facebook comments, like people are really identifying with that show. And it's funny because like we try to keep it clean, right? On the Three Gun Show.
Yep.
And I do that because, represent companies. I got, banners hanging in the background here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I kind of want to have like a little bit of a Eddie Haskell kind of a sort of thing going. But we also have juniors and females listening to the show, and I try to be sensitive and cognizant of that. But shoot, even then, the feedback I get from people's parents and from the ladies that listen to the show, they're like, let go, whatever. But I still struggle with that portion of it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just have Mike on once a quarter, and that'll be our outlet.
I'll just balance everything else out, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we've got a bunch of people hanging out in the YouTube chat with us right here, and Joe Frechette says when we start our little 3 Gun town that he can do the radiation testing, and JC Schumacher says small town with a lot of acres for shooting, right? And Ray Coronado Jr. says the Dissident Arms podcast was friggin' amazing.
Yeah,
and then Jay Christensen chimes in, just says, "Hey y'all."
So howdy. Is that how you respond to that, y'all?
Yeah, howdy. And then Adam Reiser's in with us as well, and he says that he can be the jester. And
perfect.
Yeah, he's got the build for it, so it'll be good. That's a Reiser joke.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I should laugh, and then I was laughing on the inside.
I had a great dig on Reiser for his height, like right before we started with the podcast. That actually got him busting up, and I was like, "Damn it!" Of all the times it could have been recording. So, but that's something that you understand now is trying to get things on the air because you're a podcaster as well. You launched Addicted with Josh Froelich.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know what? It's been more than anything is an opportunity for me to figure some stuff out. Like, because I'm looking for this content. We were talking a little bit off air about the fact that I've been trying to knock out interviews while I'm on the road, but it hasn't really worked out. And so I'm still trying to put good content out. And so I've just been sharing what's rattling around in my brain a little bit and complete some thoughts that otherwise would just kind of be things I ponder on while I'm in the car and there's nothing on the radio or whatever. And so I will say it's probably more for me lately than it is for everyone else. And it's cool that I've been getting good responses from folks that are getting something out of it. That's terrific. I certainly want to share as much as possible with the community that's positive. But more than that, internally, mentally, like I said, I've been working things out and I've been really enjoying the process. So more interviews to come. Certainly. I'm going to work on that in a lot more, but I've been having fun being able to just iron stuff out and work stuff out, thoughts and strategies on general life. It's not always just shooting stuff. So it's been fun.
Yeah. I tell you what, the podcasts that you've done that have been you doing like monologue type stuff. I don't know if you'd call it monologue or like exactly the style. Do you have like a term that you use for the style?
No, not really.
Solo?
Just talking crap by myself in the basement.
Yeah. All right, Josh talking to himself in the basement podcast. I've really been enjoying those ones, and we spoke about this months ago in getting you spun up with equipment and things like that on trying to figure out a format and everything. But the solo podcasts I've really been enjoying, like your cadence and your like how you present your thoughts. It like story structure and just like how you take it through the content I've really been enjoying. And it's always interesting when people try to do different pieces of content, because there's been a lot of people that have, like, oh, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, and from listening to the 3 Gun Show, and a lot of them have completely crashed and burned. But I enjoy your presentation style on that, and I think that I don't know if that's something that you recognize as a gift, or like, it sounds like story time with Josh, like I know you don't like me naming your podcast. Like you didn't like Froelich Factor, which I still think is much better than Addicted.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But anyway, so I like that. I like that, campfire story time cadence that you have. I think it's enjoyable to listen to.
Well, that's cool. So that really developed more than anything, with a history of about 10 years of professional business to business sales. So when I go into a meeting with an executive, I'm prepared with ammunition to tell a story, to get my point across, to walk them through the way. I mean, sales in general is getting other people to see things the way you see them, because you already believe you have the right thing for them. Now you just need to get them to believe that that's the case. And so all it is really delivering an idea to get them to see things the way you see it. And so if I can finish a thought and I can walk them through and keep them engaged enough to follow through some story with me, some example from life where I use those tools to sell, now I can actually get my point across, versus, hey, I got this widget, here's the price. I know we scheduled an hour, but I'm done. And now all of a sudden you're out, right? And so 10 years of trying to figure out how to get messages across to business owners and executives in a one-on-one casual in their office setting. It's that, and then leveraging that, realizing that, there's nobody going to chase me out the door either. So, if you want to listen, awesome. I'm excited to have you along. If you don't, that's cool. There's lots of options. You can turn it off too. So I'm going to do kind of what I want, and just have fun with it, enjoy the process. And if that's, valuable for people, I'm super excited. And so far it's been fun. I've been getting some of that positive reinforcement from the community as well. And it motivates me. It's exciting to see some of that come back. And then, early on, I had no idea what to expect from a numbers perspective, if you will. Like on social media, I know what good numbers are when I see it. On podcasting for listens and downloads and all that stuff, I had no idea really what to expect. But have been smashing the numbers that I thought I would probably get. And so it's just been fun. It's been a fun ride.
That's awesome. That's great, man. And I've been getting a lot of feedback too. And one of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten is the reason that we're here talking today, from our buddy Scott Green. Another piece of feedback that I've gotten is from people saying, like, well, there's another 3 Gun podcast out there. What do you think about that? And I'm always like, well, I mean, I'm gonna fucking bury him for sure. So.
Yes.
So I look at him as like just a temporary nuisance. But
is that Matt? What is that? Mosquito?
Come on, little fella. Yeah, bring it on. So no, I'm happy for you, man, and I definitely listen to them as well. So recently I had in my queue to listen to a podcast called Shift Focus, and I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to be talking about target transitions. Awesome. And I was in the middle of listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, so I'm like, all right, I'll listen to that one after a while. And it takes, I don't drive nearly as much as I used to now, so it takes me a little while to finish them. I get a text from our buddy Scott Green. He's like, "Have you listened to the most recent Froelich podcast?" And I was like, "Froelich's dead to me, but no, I haven't listened to that podcast." And he's like, "Well, it's only 15 minutes. Check it out." So I listened to it. And then immediately we got into a little text conversation about it. So for people that haven't listened to Shift Focus, tell me what you think you said, and then I'll tell you what I think I heard.
Okay, sounds good. I'll give you a brief summary of.
Yeah, slightly less than 13 minutes.
Yeah. How about a lot less than 13 minutes? We can get the point across. Okay, so in general, all of this life, right? Everything that we do, we want to be proud of it, right? I mean, anything that we do. When you're proud of it, it builds self-esteem, it builds confidence, it builds ego, it builds all of these things that can be a great thing for you. When things aren't going well, it can work the opposite way. There's a thing called momentum, positive or negative. You can ride this wave into something that's going to be good for you or something that's not. And so what I've been struggling with this year is I focused 100% of my time and energy on 3-gun this year. And by 100% of my time and energy, that means a lot because I dedicate tons of time to training and competition shooting. Everything, all day long, my thoughts, everything, diet, nutrition, training, the gym, all of it. And what I found was, I'm starting to get real frustrated with my performance, not my position in a match finish. That's not what I'm talking about here. That also lines up with the disappointment, but it's not the motivation. Been frustrated with really how I feel about the way that I'm shooting and my progress. So
can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in the podcast, I was like right there with you. I'm like, dude, I've been feeling this myself.
Okay.
There's areas of my life where I'm not really happy with the progress, and I've been doing a lot of the same thing, and I'm not really getting the results that I need. So I'm good, cool. Maybe there's something coming that I can take away from this, and along the way, I'm like, obviously, because this is what humans do, you internalize everything, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking about myself in these contexts, like what are some things that I can do to be improving and changing things that Dave's doing in his daily life to be a better man, first of all, a better podcaster, better marketer, better shooter, etc. Now go on.
Yeah. So you related to the first part is what you're saying.
Totally. Like,
okay. All right.
I really was. I was digging it and I was feeling it because I could definitely relate to it for sure. Which is one thing that I dig about the podcast is that you're opening up in ways that no other air quote professional shooter has before. Like we don't hear this type of stuff from Rob Latham, Max Michel, etc. So
yeah. Okay, so we're at this point where I'm going, okay, I'm an action guy. So I think there's thinkers and there's doers, right? Well, thinkers do things as well, and doers think about stuff as well. But in general, I'm the guy that does the thing, whatever that is. I try to figure it out. I'm not coming up with brand new ideas. I'm not innovative. I just point a direction and I follow it and I crush it with hard work. And so when I'm starting to look at this and I'm going, okay, this is broken because I'm frustrated in this thing that I love. And I'm starting to go, you know what? Why do I even do this? Like literally having some doubts, right? In my mind about what am I doing here? Because I'm not happy with the performance. I'm not happy with my progress. Okay, so I need to make a change. So that change could be a number of things. First thing I thought about is because I've turned the shooting thing into a business. It's its own thing at this point that I love. Well, so I could technically probably swing it to just give up the day job. So that was step one. I thought about that. I'm like, okay, well, I could give that up and I could train full time, all in. I could get where I want to go doing that. I truly believe I could. Not sure I'm ready to do that. Two, I could take a little bit more time away from the family and free time and stuff that I love. I don't really want to do that yet either.
I knew that wasn't going to be the solution, by the way. That is almost never the solution.
No, it isn't. Well, it isn't. And we talk
especially for you, because we've talked a lot offline, about family and how important it is to you. So you don't seem like the type of guy that's like, maybe the family's good on their own.
No,
we had a good run.
No, well, and I was never thinking about like cutting them loose. I'm just saying like the hours in the day. Right? It's all about dedicating your waking hours to the things that you are most passionate about and want to have successful. And so those are the ideas. It's like, okay, I need to put in more work. How can I do that if I want to continue down this path of trying to be the best 3-gunner I can be. None of those things lined up. None of those things seem like good ideas. And so anytime I get stuck in life in general, mentally, I go back in time to when things were good and why they were good, and just try to analyze my history to figure out, okay, what was a time where I was on the opposite end of this, where I was truly feeling successful. I was truly feeling, when I got off the line, unload, show, clear, was excited about my progress, my performance, was proud of the things that I had just accomplished or just the way I shot, that kind of thing. And anytime I really focused on a gun, didn't matter what it was, a gun for a period of time, literally 4 times the energy that I put into staying sharp on pistol, rifle, shotgun, PCC, AKs, all that stuff. Right now, I can dedicate into one gun. I've had great success, and I've truly become almost surgical with that gun, with that platform, to the point where I knew and had no doubt in my mind going to World Shoot last year I could win it. It sounds silly. It sounds cocky. I got shit for it from the Russians because they didn't really understand. A guy asked me, he goes, "What's your goal?" I go, "Well, my goal is to win the match." He goes, "You can't say that." I'm like, "Well, I just did." I'm like,
"I'm American. I say whatever I want." Apparently,
like,
you've never met Americans before.
Yeah, like, why would we come here if our goal wasn't to win the match, right? And like, that was a spot I was at mentally at the time, concentrating on single gun. And so really, I knew that I wanted to dedicate my time and energy for a period, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, to a singular focus, a gun, so I could dive 4 times as much energy without changing my life at all into a thing, whatever that is. And then it became, okay, so here are the guns that I want to shoot. I want to shoot shotgun. I want to shoot pistol. I want to shoot rifle. I want to shoot PCC. I do want to shoot AK. So I got 5 guns to think about. And then it's like, where's the market? Where's the game? What positions me well to be marketable, to compete at a very high level? Like, for instance, if I just dedicated 100% of my time and energy to pistol today, I'm not going to beat JJ next year, Rakaza and USPSA Open. Like, that dude's got 20 years of doing exactly what I do just behind pistol. Those guys are amazing on pistol. So, like, could I be competitive and in the mix of top 10, top 16? Maybe. Yeah, probably. Am I going to win it? I don't think so. So I'm like, okay, let me think something where I can truly be up at the top. So it's like shotgun. Yep, I can do that. PCC, I can do that. 223 rifle, I think I could do that. What's the biggest market? What's the biggest game in the US today of those 3? And because of that consideration, I landed on pistol caliber carbine as the direction for my focus.
And that's where you lost me.
Yeah, I know I did. I'm well aware. Yeah. Do you get the logic behind it? Do you understand?
So no, I don't. I don't get the logic behind it. And it's. I mean, I know you heard the interview I did last night with Scotty. We talked about Scott. We talked about you a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we did match recon, so you probably know a little bit about where I'm coming from. But before I get to that, I'll I'll say, like, on the surface, what I heard, and like, if you had like a record scratch sound at that point of the podcast, like, that would have been perfect for me. Because that is not where I thought you were going at all. So, okay. So you totally juked me. I had no clue that's where that was going to go. So what I heard everything you said, and I listened to it twice. I listened to it once initially when like right before I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And then oh wait, no, I listened to it again today, and then one time in between. So I've listened to it 3 times, and trying to dissect of, like, making sure that I was hearing your thought process correctly. And on the surface, what I heard is, man, 3-gun is so hard. It's so hard to manage three guns to be a GM in pistol, be a GM in shotgun, be a GM in rifle, and a GM in transitions, and putting them all together.
Yeah.
So what I heard was three guns really hard. I'm going to do something else. Okay. I told you beforehand, I'm going to challenge you a little bit here.
Yeah. Let's do
it. I'm doing this in the spirit of love and understanding. So it's not that I don't like you, Josh. I just don't like the things you do. Okay. No, I'm totally kidding on that. But no, like that's what I interpreted from that. And then later in, I think it was that podcast as well, you also mentioned that you had a goal of winning 100 championships in your lifetime. Is that right?
Yep.
And that was in that podcast, right?
Yep.
Okay. Which is a badass goal, by the way. And so hats off to you for that one. So what I interpreted as a shift in focus was, I'm not going to be getting the 100 championships in three gun as fast as I thought. So I'm going to go play a simpler game.
Okay.
And I'm not saying PCC is simpler. That's just like the most basic words that I can put that into.
Yeah. No, I get it. So I can see that angle on it as well. Fact is, if I had the resources or the time that I believe that I need to be at the point where I'm happy with my performance in three gun, because it is hard and there's lots of guns.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's fun. I enjoy it, but I don't get that surgical level with the time that I have available. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that sounds like a cop out, but I don't have more time. Like I literally do not have more time in the day. I work a 40-hour a week job, full-time business guy. I can get away some weeks with 30 hours, and that's cool. Other weeks I have to make up for it. Then I have 20 hours to shoot and train, and I use that time wisely. Like I have mags loaded, like I've done all the stuff, right? And so it's like at a certain point in this game, you go, okay, I have so much talent and I have so much time to grow the skill set. And my progress I used to be able to put in 20 hours and make a 7% leap. Now I put in 20 hours and I make a 0.01% leap, right? And it's like, okay, I need more time, more rounds of ammunition, all stuff I don't have. And I'm not happy. So, that's what it comes down to is I'm going to play three gun for fun. And I'll still be in the mix. That's cool. But maybe up here mentally, that'll give me the maybe, I doubt it, but it'll give me the okay with like, all right, I can go play three gun with my friends and do well enough that I'm not embarrassed by it, but at the same point, destroy this other game is
right. Okay.
Is my thought.
So I have three things here.
Okay.
One, no, and by the way, I'm happy that you're giggling along with me, because I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm just really trying to challenge your thought process and and talk through this. And again, like, it's hard to tell when I'm serious and when I'm silly, but just understand this comes from a good place. But First off, Jeremy Froelich just commented on the YouTube, and he says, "This PCC thing bums me out," which would be a great T-shirt.
Oh, that would be a pretty good Jared. Yeah,
a shitload of those.
Yep.
So sorry that got me off track, but so two legitimate thoughts. One, do you think that your expectations for outcome are too high for the amount of time that you have to put into the game?
No. So I think that my expectations for performance, not it depends how you define outcome. Is it outcome
being 100 championships?
Yeah, got it. I understand where you're going. Well, so I'd say that maybe. Goals are also something that, I don't know if I'll ever get there. I'm okay with that. Like a goal is something that you set and you work toward, like for your life.
Right.
And if I end at 81, I'll be a little pissed, right? If I end at 29, I'll be really pissed. But like it's a something to work toward more than anything. And it's not that though. So it isn't that. So like I've won matches this year that I was sick to my stomach about the way that I showed up, the way that, I mean, I didn't want to post a single match video because in my heart, I'm like, man, I'm shooting shitty. Like I'm not shooting the way that I know I could do it. And because of that, I'm like, man, I'm not having fun. Like I'm not proud of what I'm doing. And, that sucks to be in that spot for 4 or 5 months coming from a year last year where I concentrated. I did have focus in shotgun last year. I did have focus in PCC. I shot 3-gun for fun last year. Same deal. Just this year I have a podcast. So I'm open to, sharing that stuff.
Yeah.
So like I'll still do all this stuff. It's just a matter of when I'm focused and I can crush a game that I know I can, my outlook on the whole game in general or the shooting sports or life is just more positive. So that's probably my response is, yeah, maybe 100 3-gun majors with my current skill level and my time that I have available in my life today. Maybe not realistic. I don't know. But with that said, if I felt great at those 3-gun matches, like I gave it absolutely everything and I really performed well, and Scott was just the better man, which, Scott can shoot lights out. I can't take a thing away from him, but I'm not shooting the way that I know I can. So it's like, it's not even that he's beaten me. It's that I'm not even showing up. And so, in my mind, I know that from the outside looking in, that's silly because it's like, okay, well, I'm 4% off or I'm 1.5% off. It's not like I'm shooting 85% or 60%, but it's in between my ears that this challenge really exists where I'm just not happy and I'm frustrated. And so the external motivators, sure. Yeah, those are probably pretty big and probably come into play with the frustration level. I can see that. But more than anything, it's just not shooting to my expectations that I know I'm capable of. The way I shot 3-Gun Nation Nationals last year, I destroyed that match. The last stage, I had a hiccup, right? But even still, destroyed that match. I was proud of that match. 7 out of the 8 stages, like super proud of it. I haven't had that experience at a local or major this year, and for some reason, I don't know what that is exactly. I'm just not making that progress, and I guess that's where it's coming from with me.
Okay. All right. So the second thing that I was thinking of there. Well, first off, the chat is like on fire. These guys are hilarious. I'm really trying I'm really trying not to laugh while you're talking here. So let's see. Oh, Joe Frechette says the hardest thing to fathom about this is Josh has pushed hashtag only shoot open for so long. To hear the PCC focus is mind boggling. And then he recommended that you switch to TAC Ops. And then Sean Nelson added after that, don't worry, Joe, hashtag shift focus is going to take the IG by storm tomorrow. So, all right. So the second thing that I was thinking, and then we have another great question from Adam Reiser here. But the second thing that I was thinking is you fought for a long time, right?
Yep.
Was there any weightlifting involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So you have a context for what I'm talking about. So when you engage in weightlifting from zero, like not picking up a barbell to like learning proper technique, now you're putting plates on there and then you're racking it up. Like you will see gains that go up exponentially.
Yep.
And then you'll plateau. And then the gains come harder and harder after that. Like getting to your first 300 pounds may take you 6 months. Getting the next 100 pounds may take you 6 years. Do you think that you're kind of at that type of point now and you're instead of fighting through the plateau and working through it, you're kind of like, let's go find another exponential rise.
Maybe. Yeah. You know, all of this stuff it's fair game. It's possible. I'd say that I'm not plateauing though. So here's my thought on it. So I'm not plateauing on all the guns. I'm plateauing in general for overall performance. So like if I take pistol and I dedicate, call it 10 hours of my 20 a week, and I did, I'm right in the mix. I can do that. And then you know what? I shot and took 7th in the shotgun portion of the Grand Nationals because I spent all my time on pistol and long range rifle, and now couldn't run a shotgun to save my life for 5 stages. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. There were some rough stages in there. And so with the time I have available, I can absolutely make increases on a gun or 2 guns while letting other stuff slide. And so to be at the very top of the game, just take more time. I don't have today.
Okay. All right. So getting to Adam Reiser's question, do you feel like stating publicly that you were going to put all of your time and effort into 3-gun created too much pressure and a negative impact on your performance?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. You know, one of the challenges with being a content producer is you have a certain level of accountability to the community, one way or another, like whether they hold you to it or not, doesn't matter. I put content out on a regular basis, whether it's a podcast, whether it's social media content, whether I'm on someone else's podcast. And when you set these things, it's like the ultimate accountability partner, right? I mean, it really is, because the moment that you shift from that at all, you get lit up. And so that's why I was like, okay, I better put a show out on this, because if I do a 60-second Instagram, I'm going to get destroyed with PMs and DMs and all kinds of stuff, because I want to have a chance to finish my thought. So as a content producer, yes, that can certainly put pressure on you, but I like that pressure. So I like that accountability. I actually do. Just not sure how to come through on it.
I was just about to say the accountability portion is great. Well, like when I launched the 3-gun show, you know, I announced it was going to launch before I even recorded my first podcast, and then it was like, yeah, seriously. So it was, but I needed that motivation to do it, you know, and I also maybe, you know, selfishly, I needed some sort of, you know, permission from the community of like, yeah, we could use that, you know. So I've experienced that myself, and you know, writing goals down, and you know, it only goes so far. Making them public goes even farther. So I get that part of it.
Yep. And there's more to it that I didn't necessarily get a chance to get into on the show. So on my show, and so we can talk about some of the big positives for me to moving over to a sport like PCC as the primary focus. Again, the shotgun's not going to get rusty. I can promise you that. Neither is the pistol. I'm going to shoot those guns, but moving over there, if I've ever been criticized as a shooter with having gaps in the game, it's always been that because of the way I came up in the game, 3-gun that is, that I was a really strong bay shooter, right? So I love
we've discussed this quite a bit.
Yeah, I love technical footwork. I love explosive short movements, shooting coming into position, shooting rolling out of position. Like it's why I do well in IPSC. It's why I do well in PCC. In a bay setting, I'm at home. You know, it's somewhere that's pretty comfortable that I can train too in my backyard, and you know, I have the resources to really excel in that game because it's part of my natural skill set too. And so, you know, that's exciting to me. I enjoy that type of requirement, the fast footwork, and you know, my talent, if you will, or the skills I don't know if they're skills, the things I was born with, the blessings that I have, help me a lot in that area. So I get to use it, which is fun. I enjoy that, and it leads to success in that space for me too.
Right. Okay. Well, one of the things that you've done really well, and I guess I didn't realize it was happening at the time until you like called attention to it. I can't. You called attention to it some forum, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was on one of your podcasts or something. But the hashtag only shoot open. I looked at that as like this is Josh quantifying his worth to sponsors. And what you explained was that it was you creating excitement around open to create, more open shooters, right?
Yeah.
And since you made open sexy again. That's a good one. That'd be another good shirt.
I think the other one would be more popular though. Yeah,
yeah, I know we're gonna sell way more of those.
People love to trash PCC.
I know, but it's so much fun though.
I get a kick out of it. I laugh. I think it's funny too.
No, I mean shooting PCC is so much fun. That's why I whispered it. But where was I going with that? Oh, okay. So mid open sexy again. Scott Green, who was, killing it on the West Coast, moved to open. You guys were battling it out. We see a lot of other shooters moving to open, and, Three Gun Nation Pro Series goes away. People don't have to stay in TAC if they don't want to. So we see a lot of guys going limited too. Open has like some heavy hitters, and we see like a lot of people up and coming, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And open's getting to be fun to watch rather than just like, okay, who's Jared going to kill this week? So
yeah,
what should someone who was inspired by you take away from your shift of focus, your transition here?
Yeah. So I would simply say that lots of optics, high capacity, and going fast is still the game. I truly believe PCC is legit open. I've got 50 round mags in my gun and 2 optics on it. Like that's as open gets. And I, that's just my style. I like drag racing. I like fast stuff and all the tools and widgets. And so, I'm not much far removed from that today. It still guides pretty much everything that I do. Has to do with high capacity optics on everything and speed. So, is it called open division? No, not really. It's called pistol caliber carbine, but it's an open gun. If that gun was shot in 3-gun, it'd be an open rifles because of all the dots and comps and big mags and all that silly stuff, bipods and everything else. So, it's true to me. Like I can't shoot a friggin' iron gun. I mean, I can, but like I'm never gonna do it because it's not what gets me excited about going fast with. Like I have them on carry guns and stuff, and I shoot them in the backyard, sure, but just to stay sharp enough. So if I had to use it, I could. But I'm never going to compete with them. PCC is not far removed from the open that I've enjoyed.
Okay, so maybe I phrased that incorrectly. Okay. Not necessarily a departure from open, but just your shift of focus from 3-gun to PCC. Like those that were inspired by you to go shoot open in 3-gun specifically.
Got it.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, what should they take away from the shift here?
That they were blessed to come into the best division that exists in 3-gun, and now they realize everything else is silly. So I took their blinders off. No, I mean, for real, like if you came over to open because I made it look fun, like it's fun, and you're going to stick around. Hopefully that's the goal. But yeah, I'm bummed. I feel Scott sent me a message and we love shooting against each other. I love shooting against Scott. He's one of my favorite people to compete with. I literally go to matches that he's going to just so that I can shoot against him. He does the same with me. And we have traded a lot of matches over the years. And so he was pretty bummed when I when I launched that show. He sent me a text and he goes, "Hey man, like I get it. I want your life to be good. I want your to be fulfilled through competition and all of that. And I wish you the best of success. But basically, F you. You took away all my motivation because now who am I going to beat? Who am I going to work toward?
Well, that's true. I mean, Scott has open competitors out west that go and hide in different divisions when he comes to a match.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. So yeah, it is tough. And I think, like a lot of times you need that bogey in competition to drive you, because so Scott's a freak, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but Scott said that he doesn't want to win, he wants to beat people.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't even care. He's just like, I want to crush them. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Get under my foot. Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. But at the same point, while being super respectful. So like internally up here, again, between the ears, he's a crazy person. Just like me. But externally, he's polite, professional, like a good, humble champ should be. And so he's fun to compete with. And when he beats me, I'm pissed. And when I beat him, I know he's pissed. But
oh yeah, for
both
sure.
of us are pretty cordial for the most part. And hell, we end up rooming together when we travel half the time because both of us are pretty serious and don't want to have something crazy going on at the house and be up all night when we want to shoot well the next morning. So
yeah, totally understand. All right, Josh, we got a couple good, or I guess we have one really good question from the chat here.
Okay.
Let's see here. There was a funny one. Joe Frechette. By the way, Doc Easley's here with us, so since he's here, that means we can make fun of him. Joe Frechette says even some chiropractors doing well in open, to which I would add has not competed against Josh yet.
I'll get out of here, Dylan. Dylan's
love
boss.
You, Dylan. Love you.
He's shooting well.
Love you like the brother I never wanted.
I hope to shoot against Dylan in open. I'm sure it'll happen because he, James Gill, even Joel Turner getting a box gun a year and a half ago was so exciting for me. I was so pumped. Maxwell coming over, Ruben getting an open gun. I mean, there's a list today that I can't even off the top of my head name them all, but it's been so much fun to watch guys like that are legit tack up guys that can play at the top over there, coming on over and playing guns with us. And so that if there was a thing that had me hesitate more than anything to shift this focus, it was that. It was I finally get to play with my buddies in this game in my division. It's my division in my mind. Like I've been in it for 5 years when there was nobody else in it. And it's been so cool to see guys come over. And so that is disappointing on my end to go, okay, well, yep, finally it's fun to play. And there's 40 guys in a match.
Yeah.
And now I'm bumming on this 3-gun game for the moment. And so, yeah, it's a killer. That piece had me hesitating a bit. I spent probably 2 days after I had the decision in my mind, but I was like, screw it. I want to play with these guys, now that there's a division to actually shoot with.
Yeah. So Jason Milroy has a really good question, but before we get to that, I want to throw out. I just remembered a good analogy that I was thinking of the other day when I was trying to think of nice ways to say how disappointed I am.
Okay.
It's like we all decided that we're going to go race Top Fuel, and then when we show up to the drag race, Josh is racing junior tracksters.
I don't know if it's that. I think okay. Let me look at your analogy. So we all went to play Top Fuels. I just happened to come with the Top Fuel speedboat instead, and I'm over in the swamp next door.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That one's even better. I like that one. Yeah. I should have ran that one by you earlier. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad we worked that one out, though. That's much better. Okay, so Jason Milroy says, Josh, did you talk with other top competitors about their training regimen to maybe restructure yours without taking time from your family and your job?
Yeah, for sure. I spent probably, so far this year, I've had frustration. So since February, I've been a little bummed on how things were going. So yeah, absolutely. I've been picking people's brains all year, and everybody that I'm talking to is going, I'm just asking, not even telling what I do. Most of them have a general idea, but I'm doing it. I'm doing the things that they're recommending. My sessions, I've mixed up short drills. I've mixed up all the big stuff. Like, I know how to get good at a gun. I don't know how to stay really, really good at all four. That right now, that with the time commitment I have available, that's where I'm at. Like, anything I dedicate my mind to for a focused direction, I can get really good really quick. It's just keeping it all sharp enough so that when I'm shooting all three guns on stage, I'm proud of what happened when it's done.
I gotcha. All right. We got so James Gill had a really interesting comment on something we were talking about a while ago, and he says, as a guy who has been shooting full time since 2006, I realize I have gotten so much better, but so has everyone else. Which kind of a general comment, but I really think that's like a huge thing. Like the base level ability of people in 3-gun has gotten much higher than when I started.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. Here's an example. So locally, we got this kid. If you haven't heard of him, you will very soon. His name is John Waddell. He is a monster. Turned 16 last week. Beat me at the last 2 3-gun matches, by the way, by a couple percent. Terrific little shooter. This kid's good luck, everybody. I think he'll get into AMU if that's what he wants to do. I think that may be a direction for him. And he and Nate are going to take over the world, I think. So, so watch out for that.
He's been putting in a ton of work over the last couple of years. Like,
yep.
It wasn't last year. I think it was 2 years ago. There was a 2A Heritage Junior Camp in Minnesota, and that I was up there for, and he was there. And man, since then he has made like just freaking leaps and bounds. And it's all about the work. He's just been putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He and his dad, they'll come down, not too often, but I do a little bit of one-on-one training with him, not me coaching. Like, we're putting in practice sessions together because that kid knows how to work. So I'll set up whatever I'm going to work on that day. He'll come on down, and he's keeping right up with my times, right up with the drills I'm running. And it's because he hustles. It's because he's putting in the time and energy. So it'll be cool to watch him and then all this new generation of open shooters that aren't old men come into the game and go, okay, this is the division I want to shoot. I'm going to invest all this time and energy in it. So certainly the community is getting better right alongside me, if not outpacing me in certain areas.
And Joe Frechette chimes in and says, and a heck of a nice kid on top of it, talking about John Waddell. Adam Reiser says, John's a good kid, squatted with him at Hard as Hell and was very impressed. Amax says, we all know that 10 minutes from now, John will discover girls.
There might be truth to that. Yep.
And then Joe Frechette says, LOL, we can only hope. Dylan Easley says, I'm buying John a PlayStation and an iPad with no parental lock.
That's probably a good idea if you want him out of the mix.
Dylan, can I get on that list, please? And we have a question from Sean Burrows here, and this one's not so LOL and back on topic. How are your sponsors of the other guns taking this announcement?
So here's what I'm doing. So I talked the ones that it would negatively affect would be Dissident Arms and STI pistols. So those would be the big ones that would be affected in a negative way with this move. And what I'm doing to make sure that that's not a major challenge is, I'm a marketing guy and branding guy, so I can absolutely find creative ways to make up for the difference in dedicated time and energy behind the platform. For instance, so I ordered a STI DVC Open. I'm going to be at USPSA anyway. So if I'm shooting all these locals 2 a week when I'm not shooting a major match, why not shoot open, like legit open with, fast bullets and the whole 9 yards with a dedicated USPSA STI gun, get a ton of good content for them, all of that stuff, and compete with the guns, prove that you can crush it with that gun. How much time am I going to spend practicing for that specifically in my training time, a few minutes at the end of the PCC session. But I'll be able to perform at a high level, GM level, behind a pistol, their gun, and crush it at some matches. So, and just because it's not my focus doesn't necessarily mean that I won't shoot a major match with that gun too, and compete with all the big boys in USPSA too. So I'm going to be doing that. And then there's Dissident Arms. So Dissident knows that I am not shy about doing one gun stuff. So I talked to Mike about that specifically today, and he understands that, you know, he's a little disappointed for sure, but he also understands that when I shift and I'm gonna go all in on shotgun stuff, man, it's his show for 6 months at a time, right? So like, not only that, but I love, just for fun of it, going and shooting those little AK matches. And so I've got a Distant Arms rifle. I'm going to be shooting Red October this year. It's after PCC season for the most part. So all the national matches are over, and USPSA nationals and everything else is over by then. And so I'm just going to run that Distant Arms Defector rifle down there and do that for them. And, you know, again, I'm still going to be shooting, you know, in my mind, I go, okay, obviously, like, in my life, I'm going to be shifting and moving and doing different things as time goes on. So am I willing to let the skills that I've developed slip and go away? No, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to shoot a flat of shotgun shells through it a week. I'm going to run a case of ammo through the guns. Like, I'm still doing shooting. Like, again, the only reason that it's so public is because I have a show now, and because I announced it publicly, right? So like last year, I literally did the same thing. I did all shotgun for the first half of the year, all PCC the second half, and shot 3 gun in between. And so
I think the differential, like, is, you know, like you said, because you have a show and you're calling attention to it, and also shotgun makes sense in our minds as 3 gunners, right? Because it's one of our 3 guns.
Sure.
And then World Shoot is a like a legitimate goal for a 3 gunner, right?
Yep.
So just to get your back on that one. So 2 questions from the audience here, and then I want to ask you, Josh, like, what's going on going forward with PCC and PCC matches, because I honestly don't know what's out there on the landscape. So I want to see if you can fill us in on that. And I probably should have told you about this beforehand. My bad. But
I've been doing a lot of research, believe me.
Okay, good. All right. So Doc Easley says, in response to my "how do I get on that list," he says, "Become a threat to win a match, and I'll buy you one."
Whoa!
Ouch. Which he follows up with
just a zing.
I know, which he follows up with "Love you, Dave." And as soon as I saw the "Love you, Dave" on there, I'm like, "Oh, that previous sentence is gonna hurt."
Yeah.
Yeah. So MN 3 gunner Michael O'Brien, I'm assuming, says, assuming you are going back to defend the shotgun World Shoot, when will you start that training?
At about 9 months. Like dedicated.
9 months out from the shoot, or 9 months from now?
9 months out from the shoot will be where the true dedicated shotgunning comes, because I did 6 months this time, this last World Shoot, and I felt like that was pretty sufficient. But at the same point, I don't know how good these guys got in the last 3 years. I'm not leaving anything up to chance. So a couple extra months over the winter, I'm gonna get it.
It's Cold War, baby.
Yeah, no doubt.
You got to get out in front of them, man. Mutual assured destruction.
Yeah.
So Michael adds any European PCC matches in your future. So this is an interesting point, and I'm glad Michael brought that up, because it's something I wanted to ask about. I heard rumor, and I don't know if this is something that's going to be a thing, but I saw that I want to say Czech Republic put in for a PCC World Shoot. So is that on your radar? Do you know anything about that? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, so not formally. It is out there in Futureland, and I have heard about it, and I don't know details on it, and I'm pretty excited about the potential of going over there if it's what it I believe it is, right? So there's a lot of questions in my mind today. I mean, if they call it the World Shoot and 11 countries show up and nobody's shooting it, like I'm probably not going to the Czech Republic for another major match. But if it's legit, like rifle, pistol, shotgun worlds where 50, 60, 70, 80 countries show up, hell yeah. Like that sounds awesome.
I was surprised to learn. God, now I'm wondering. Maybe I heard this when I was a dissident. Can't remember. So whoever told me this, I'm sorry. But PCC is like actually becoming a pretty big thing in Europe because this was a dissident. We were talking about their 9mm AK platform. It's actually becoming a pretty big thing in Europe because it's not a military cartridge in a carbine, right? So I was super surprised to hear that, just because, like, I don't know if I guess I'm not plugged into like the IPSC scene, unfortunately, until it's shotgun season, and then that's all I see in my feed. But
yeah, if you're following Scott and I, that's fact. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that plus like all the Russians and Kim and Josh and Kim Leppinen, Josh Kenny, and like all those dudes. I follow all them too, but for some reason, maybe like their content turns down when there's not a world shoot coming. I don't know, but it's probably the algorithm. But anyhow, so I was really excited to learn that there's a lot of PCC things happening outside the US because that seems like cool. It's another game that we can play together.
Yeah. Yep. So the fact is it's very big overseas. 2 years ago at the Lucas Oil PCC Championship, the original, the first one, Maria and Visvold from Kalashnikov actually came to Lucas Oil match and brought their AK9s, and that's where I met those folks. Great people. It was already a thing over there before we really made it a thing here. And so, yeah, it's popular worldwide. People are shooting PCCs all over the place. And so, pretty big market, pretty big opportunity for companies, and pretty big opportunity for competitors to compete against a lot of folks. I mean, Eric Graffel is shooting PCC. He's shooting a JP GMR 15. That's a dude that I want to compete with a rifle. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so I'm sorry. I said that was going to be the last couple of questions before we start wrapping up here, but now all these people just woke up and they're asking a bunch of cool questions. So
let's do it. If
you got time, let's do this.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Adam Reiser jumps back in and he says, "Do you think that accepting a lack of perfection in all three guns is simply a part of the skill set in three gun? Is it possible that you're after something that's not attainable and that's why it's so hard?" So I'm going to throw Dave's 2 cents in here. First question, do you think accepting a lack of perfection in all three guns is simply part of the skill set in three gun? I hope so. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm not shooting USPSA. And then is it possible that you're after something that's not attainable and that's why it's so hard? So Josh, what's your answer on that, buddy?
No, I don't believe that it's unattainable because I've had glimpses of it and I've had matches of it. So I know that it exists and that I'm capable of it. I just haven't been able to recreate lately. So it's and I'm sure my expectations have shifted. I'm sure my if I watch videos from a year ago that I thought I just destroyed that stage, I'm looking at it going, what an idiot. Why did you move that way? Right. Like maybe I know the game better now. And so maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't know, but I do know I can get that. So first match back this last week, I shot a USPSA match with PCC. On the 5th stage of the night, I had that absolute experience where no makeup shots, destroyed everything on the stage. Plate rack was 2 seconds ish at 20 yards on PCC to end the thing. It was beautiful. Got done with it and just I was like, yes, that is why I shoot guns. Like that's what I want to do. And so it took me about 4 stages to really knock one of those out. But I know that, this week I shot 3,000 rounds. I can do that with a one gun on a regular basis. I haven't been able to do that with 3 guns. So realistic, I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's that flow state, man.
Yeah.
It's the Oh, I'm sorry. We had like a small little internet glitch there, so I was trying to cover up for it. But it's like the flow state, right? That's what you're seeking, is where the state where everything happens seemingly on autopilot, and you're just sitting behind yourself going, "Yeah, go, Josh."
Yep. That's what I want to be. And then while also being aware enough so that when you're unloading so clear, you're just pumped. You're just proud of it.
Yeah,
And I love it.
yeah. All right, so Amax chimes in again. If another IPSC chapter opened in the U.S. that cared more about long guns, how would that shift your focus? And I assume by long guns he means like actual rifle, RCR, rifle caliber rifle, and shotgun.
Good question. Good question. I'm not totally sure. So it would have to be super legit. So when we were talking about the future or the direction of PCC in the U.S., it is so big, maybe not visible to the three gun community to the full extent, because I didn't even know what really existed until I started doing research. There are matches every month that have 100 plus PCC shooters in them. That's a major match in three gun and TAC up.
Hey Josh,
Yeah.
Can you start over there? We kind of lost you a minute. You said you were doing research and
Yeah. Okay. So I was doing research on the available PCC opportunities to compete in the U.S., and there are matches every month with over 100 competitors in PCC. There are dedicated matches with up to 300 in one division that you're competing against. So tons and tons of really good opportunities in PCC to compete with lots and lots of guys and with running similar gear. And that chapter of IPSC long gun would have to be huge to come anywhere close to having that many matches and that many opportunities to compete. So I don't know if it showed up. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know what that would mean. It'd have to be pretty big though, because right now I can shoot PCC at 2 matches a week locally and travel every month for huge matches, which that's pretty awesome.
All right. So I think that's a good segue to start talking about going forward. So I've been on record, or actually I've been accused of hating PCC. And when the fact is, I don't hate PCC. I enjoy PCC on its own as its own game.
Okay.
Shooting PCC in USPSA matches, at least in Colorado, was very unenjoyable because people.
Because people
say that because people. And I felt so I tried to shoot PCC in a three gun nation match, and that was at the time where it wasn't a 2x4 thing. It's basically you ditch your carbine and you have PCC instead, and that sucked because like I watched all these other people shooting really targets really far away, and I was like, oh, I wish I could have done that. And then PCC 2x4 really seems to kill the necessity of the shotgun and makes the shotgun of like an also ran. Like for example, last year Wyoming three what the hell is it called? Magpul, Wyoming Magpul, thank you. Wyoming Magpul Governor's match. Shot like 27 rounds of shotgun, 30 rounds of shotgun in like a whole match. Like that was insane. So for me, like the throwing PCC anywhere seems to kill a three gun match. So I don't like it in that respect. However, I shot Lucas Oil PCC Championship. Todd Overland let me borrow his, I think it was a GMR 13.
Yep.
And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And I've shot the 9mm Tavor in USPSA matches. It's a fun division. But I enjoy it more on its own.
Okay.
So being PCC ignorant, what opportunities to shoot PCC are out there?
Yeah. So, well, first I'll comment on the local community not accepting it in Colorado. I don't know anything about that community. I do know that in my community in Minneapolis area, I was already pretty well known in our community just as a guy that shot a lot of matches in open when PCC became a thing. And I immediately had a GMR 13, and I immediately forced all the old ROs that already knew me, that were the grumpy old guys that already accepted me because we both shot open, And now I'm shooting PCC, and they're like, "You got a rifle?" It's like, "Yep, let's saddle up, buddy. I got a chamber flag too. Let's go." And we
and a bag, and
yeah. And I just walked them through it. I learned the range commands. I taught the ROs, and I was a known commodity in the community here, and so they really couldn't give me that shit, or I'd give them that shit right back. And so it got accepted pretty well up here in Minnesota. And so I haven't seen that attitude up here at all. And so my perception is actually the opposite. I absolutely.
It's also the home of JP, right? So
yeah, it doesn't
hometown
hurt.
hero kind of thing. Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. But so I love it in pistol matches. So I think that it's a ton of fun in that environment too. So for me, with that said, I'll be shooting
Josh,
a lot of
right when you said 2, you cut out.
Okay. So I'll be shooting a lot of area matches, which are be mixed divisions. So like Area 7, Area 5, Area 3, they're the USPSA regional championship matches. Going to be shooting those. And then there are dedicated PCC matches too, like the Arizona PCC Championship. I'm going down there in October. I just missed the Midwest PCC Championship that JP put on last weekend, which had, I think, about 250 guys just shooting PCC.
That looked like a fun match.
Yeah.
From the stage videos I saw, that looked like a good time.
Yeah, and I'd love to push those guns. I think it'd be fun to have dedicated matches with plate racks at 50 yards and some stuff like that were, maybe 18 by 24 at 130 or whatever. Like, those are cool shots to take because the gun's capable of it.
It is a rifle.
Yeah. Well, and I just did ammo testing, and you can get some pretty inexpensive ammo that shoots awesome. Like, I was shooting 2.5-inch groups at 100, which it's a pistol caliber. Like, that's awesome. That's really good. So it's like $10 a box, federal stuff. So you can get the guns to shoot really well. And so I'm going to shoot those matches. I'm going to shoot the PCC dedicated matches, the nationals. The other thing is, while I'm playing the game, like, again, I don't mind the pistol matches. I think it's fun. I'm actually going to stretch a little bit into somewhere that I'm uncomfortable. Like, you're uncomfortable in USPSA shooting a rifle. I'm going somewhere else. So I'm going to try. The Minnesota has, for the first time ever, a state championship in IDPA. That
what?
Yeah, pistol caliber carbines allowed. And there's like 15.
Do you have to conceal it?
No. No best.
Because I'm imagining like the Terminator 2, when he's got the shotgun in the rose box. It's like, stand by, beep, and just drop the roses and PCC comes out.
That'd be pretty sweet, but no. So the state match is 5 minutes from my house this Saturday. So I was like, hell, I'll go shoot it. It's a major match in my backyard, sort of a major. I think there's a couple hundred guys coming. So I'm going to go shoot that. And then I shot a local like a week and a half ago to try it. And there's new fault lines, so nobody yells cover at you.
Yeah.
Like,
do you have to wear a cover garment?
No.
Huh.
I'll be the only guy out there with a jersey on, probably, but oh well, I won't have a vest, and I'm cool with that. So
I would feel like I missed out. Like, you want
to wear a vest?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna do it, like, there's got to be like a Harley dealership nearby where you can get like a sweet leather vest with like some sequins and shit like that. Show up and shoot PCC. Come on, man.
Sequins? I don't know. I don't know.
Isn't that what they're called? Studs.
Ooh, that's
studs.
Yeah.
Maybe something with fringe. White snake on the back. Come on, man.
Well, I'm definitely playing the game. I'm gonna do it. The communities of our local chapter there's a bunch of good dudes. It's where I actually started. So
cool.
It was fun to go back and just talk to these guys I hadn't seen in 4 years. So I'm gonna shoot that match, and then that's probably it for that game. But I've been asked if I had interest in going to their national championship. They have a dedicated PCC national championship for IDPA that is not mixed with pistol match. And so I'm like, well, I might go to that. What are we talking?
I bet the after party is off the hook.
I don't know the community. I don't know. I can't say. But if you're going to get 200 or 300 guys together and shoot PCCs, and there's 12, 15, 20 stages or whatever, I might go to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's up in the air. I'm not sure.
All right. So Doc Easley says, "Dear Lord, from open to PCC and now to IDPA. Tomorrow you'll be shooting bench rest and complaining about the dust from people running around with guns."
Well,
I don't,
that's a
you
stretch,
know,
but
we called it, right? Old man Froelich. Like it's happening, bro. We're watching the transition right now. Which is crazy because you're younger than me. This is awesome.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where I think you'll all be surprised. And first of all, I feel honored and blessed that people care. They even care.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to my wife about it yesterday. I was like, I'm going to go on Dave's show tomorrow, and I think he's going to light me up a little bit. I mean, the show's called The Three Gun Show, right?
Don't let him be mean to you, Josh. Stand your ground.
She goes, why do they even care? And I was like, what an honor. That's pretty awesome.
Because Josh is our freaking friend, man. And we care about how our friends are doing,
And that's cool. So first and foremost, I feel honored that you guys even care enough to want to talk about it. And second of all, you will notice I will be at less majors this year, but it's not going to be a big swing from what I did last year. It's going to be pretty similar, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still shooting some different stuff. So I'll see you around, just like I tell you now. I'll just be over here shooting my little 9mm carbine.
All right then. Just kidding. So it's interesting to know the amount of PCC matches out there. I also heard I think it's Area 3 in Nebraska. They've got that I think Grand Island has that. Is where Hornady Zombies in the Heartland is right now.
Yep.
They've got like a pretty good range out there. Apparently they James Leffler was telling me they put on a really great PCC only match. It's a shame Lucas Oil PCC went away because that was a really fun match and a great venue.
Yeah, super bummed about that. I mean, as a partner of Lucas, like I was so excited to see all that happening, but I do understand the community wasn't super nice to in their feedback to the whole thing, and so it was one of those deals where it's like, well,
to the PCC match.
Yeah. I mean, just the rumblings. I heard on it, and like anything, like we all have a right to an opinion. That's no big deal. Like everybody gets an opinion, especially on a match that they spent money and they traveled to. But
they also had like problems with their match management, just like personality issues, and then they went away, and so it was like a crash team that came in at the last minute to try to save it. So
yep,
there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than blaming the shooters.
No, I understand. I get it. All around in general, I just wish it was still here. I'd love to go.
I do too, honestly. And I'm bummed I didn't shoot it last year. If it was going away, I would have shot it. I was like, I got to take a year off. I'll catch it next year. It sucks, but
yeah.
All right, man. Let's see. We're still getting great comments here, but we'll just let people read those. Those are good ones. All right, man. Well, I think we've worked this out. We've given you just the proper amount of grief that we can give a friend, and also I think we talked it out pretty well. So, I don't feel like whole, but I feel better.
Well, good. I'm glad we got you there. Yeah, and I love all that the community is, and I don't know the USPSA community like I know the three gun community, and so I was just thinking,
we'll be right here when you figure it out.
Yeah, I know. I was going earlier today. I'm like, all right, who's the heat? Because just like Scott and I go to war in three gun or shotgun or whatever we shoot, really. Max Leograndis is over in PCC, kind of I won't say untested. There are good PCC shooters, but like I go over there once a year, twice a year to play a little bit. Scott comes over every once in a while. Nate Statsquitz comes over. Taryn and Keith and all those guys will come over and play for a match or two. But like Max is over there dedicating all his time and energy and crushing people. And
and Zach too, right?
Oh yeah, Zach is a monster. That dude, first time I really recognized him as like legit top talent was at the Red October last year. I was like, who is this dude? Like, who is Zach? Because that dude threw down wearing body armor. I'm like, what? Get out of here. So yeah, there are some dudes, and there's a bunch of guys I don't even know because they don't really cross over between the games. And so I'm looking at these matches that I signed up for. I'm like, who's going to be there? I'm like, shit, this is doing me no good. I don't know who any of these people are. And so, there's, 8 GMs, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And there's 25 masters, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I'm like, I don't know the community that well yet. So that'll be interesting for me over the course of the next few months, getting to see maybe insights into that community as well.
Well, when you figure it out, let me know. Let me know who the players are.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious myself because from the outside, like I only know the people that I've known for years as like being at the top, and I see them kind of slowly edging around or maybe dodging matches and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious about that to hear your travels. But Josh, is there any like final thought you want to leave the Three Gun Show audience with?
Yeah, I guess there is. I'd say more than anything, kind of the way I left my show. I hope this gives, others permission, not necessarily in the shooting sports, but just life. When things aren't going exactly the way you want them to go, or they could go, or they should go, it's okay to shift things up for a bit. Try something new. The last thing you want to do is continue to do something that's pissing you off over and over and over and over again till you just give up or you just say fuck it. And I don't ever want to get to that point with shooting because I love shooting. I love the shooting community. And so I had to take a shift, and sometimes that's necessary in life too. So like if you got something that you're stuck on, give it a look. Maybe look around, moving around a little bit, do something a little different. And it's okay.
I like it, man. That's great. Well, so like I said, we give you the proper amount of grief, but I just want to reiterate this is coming from a place of love because we do care about you. We like you, Josh. We want you in our community, and we as Three Gunners are just completely fanatics about Three Gun, and we want everyone to like what we want. So when we see someone kind of going away, we're like, hey, no, come back here. So
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and speak for the entire Three Gun community right now.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we want you to be happy. We want you to be successful. We want you to feel like you're performing where you should be, where you can be, and where you need to be. But I also understand because I'm speaking for all of us, we also understand that there's a balance in life. And so I commend you for, not taking more time away from the family, more time away from the job and the important things in life that allow you to do what you're doing now. So I think you're doing something healthy and smart, and I'm bummed not gonna be seeing you at a bunch of Three Gun matches this year, but I'm happy for you, dude, and I wish you the best in what you're doing going forward.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. Well, and with that, I think we're gonna end it. So everybody in the chat here, when Julie Golub just jumped in, she said great final advice. So everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Three Gun Show. We'll see you on the range.